iDriveSoCal is brought to you by the best automotive retailers from across Southern California. We consider our dealer partners friends and highly recommend them. When it's time for you to buy, just go to iDriveSoCal.com and click on dealers to get connected. Or email me and I'll personally introduce you. Tom at iDriveSoCal.com. That's Tom, T-O-M, at the letter I, drive like drive a car, SoCal like Southern California.com. Tom at iDriveSoCal.com. Now, on with the podcast.
So we're at an epicenter of convergence here in Los Angeles. Obviously, from an automotive and transportation standpoint, you have an incredible infrastructure, which bring along with it challenges and opportunities. Beyond that, the talent is here and the innovation is happening here in this state. You know, we have the right ingredients for the right minestrone for mobility. It really has propelled the show to become an epicenter for not just unveiling really wonderful sheet metal, but also unveiling technology and other solutions.
Welcome to iDriveSoCal, the podcast all about mobility from the automotive capital of the United States, Southern California. Tom Smith here, and I'm excited today because I am at the LA Auto Show headquarters, the office, downtown Los Angeles, and joining me is Lefty Cirones.
You got it.
I got it right?
You got it right.
Awesome. Lefty Cirones is definitely, that's as common a name as Tom Smith. Totally right on the same plane. But Lefty, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for being here.
And I forgot to ask, what is your official title here at the auto show?
Director of Experiential Marketing and Communications for the show.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for joining me.
Thank you.
The LA Auto Show has been like just one of the coolest things for me to do on nearly an annual basis ever since I moved to Los Angeles. I love auto shows. Before that in Chicago, it was the annual trip to the Chicago Auto Show. But LA is like, you can't even compare, right? I mean,
we don't have the snow.
Yeah.
We have simulators, but we don't have the snow.
So there's so many things, and I could talk, and it sounds like our little before we turn the recorder on here, it sounds like you and I could talk about this for hours. But we'll have to condense it a little bit here for the iDriveSoCal podcast. But first off, let's talk history of the LA Auto Show. Kind of just big picture summarization, and then we'll dive into various nooks and crannies from there.
Yeah, absolutely. The show was founded in 1907, actually, and was held at a skating rink here in Los Angeles.
A skating rink.
Absolutely, yeah. And since then, it's changed a million venues. Not a million, but, several.
Many.
And, we've been at the convention center now since the 70s. And what's kind of interesting from a history standpoint is the show just continued to grow and grow as the consumer market would grow. And,
Sure.
The number of technological sort of advancements in terms of powertrains and, mass production and whatnot, and the introduction of European models after World War II.
Sure.
So, you need more space. You need more space. That's always been a challenge.
Yeah.
And so the convention center, we're kind of out of space even today. We fill it up about 1 million square feet with all the activations that happen inside and outside of the show. But notable sort of historical moments were, the fire of 29 that happened on Hill in Washington here in downtown Los Angeles.
I don't know about that. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So what ended up happening is there were actually a few airline exhibitions as well with airplanes at the show. And so there was an electrical fire and the entire show burned down.
So the show was running?
They were setting up.
They were setting up.
And it was set.
And one of the planes caught fire.
There was an electrical fire in one of those exhibits, and it burned down the show. And so literally a few days later, they were down at the Shrine Auditorium by USC, and they held the auto show.
Oh, so the show went on.
The show went on. So it's been at the Pan Pacific Auditorium and in other locations. And it's exciting now that, we're bursting at the seams. We've introduced a whole technology pavilion right outside of the convention center to add thousands of square feet of auto tech exhibits during Automobility LA, which is sort of the new name of the trade show of the LA Auto Show. It takes place right before the consumers get to see all that stuff.
So automobility, is that open to the consumers at all? It's more industry focused,
It's
right?
an industry focused event. It brings industry professionals and media from around the world. And it started off as the Connected Car Expo.
Right.
So we had a lot of really great speakers coming on stage talking about autonomy, connectivity, sharing, electrification, security.
Yep.
Because there's so much technological revolutions and disruptions that are happening right now within the industry that there needed to be a conversation on a formal stage so that not only investors and analysts can get insights, but that the media can come and, cover and figure out what's happening next, and consumers want to know. So that evolved over the course of a few years into becoming a bigger and bigger event. And so we took that conference and exhibit showcase and merged it with the Los Angeles Auto Show's press days to create a singular event known as Automobility LA.
But automobile, and I want to kind of go off on a tangent here for
Sure.
in just a second. But so Automobility LA, I think more and more consumers are becoming aware of that phrase, and what to the general consumer, what that means is, or what that illustrates, is really the importance of Southern California, the automotive capital of the United States, as well as the automotive capital of the world, and the importance of the LA Auto Show to the global automotive industry. Mm-hmm. So with that segue, mm-hmm. can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Because also we're here at the LA Auto Show headquarters, and as we were before we turned on the mics, you're like, some people say, how is that a year-long job? And it's a year-long job because it's a year-long job for a lot of people because of the importance and the significance of this show and this region right here. So kind of a big chunk to chew on, but take
sense.
It away. I trust you can handle this.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate the question because I get excited talking about it, and everybody does that's working here. So we're at an epicenter of convergence here in Los Angeles. It's where there is no one industry that defines what LA is all about. You have fashion, you have culture, you have art. Obviously, from an automotive and transportation standpoint, you have an incredible infrastructure, which bring along with it challenges and opportunities. Right. Beyond that, the talent is here and the innovation is happening here in the state. So just a few things that we tout as to why we have the right ingredients for the right minestrone for mobility. And I say that because you have advanced design studios that are located all across Southern California. Right. That are innovating, creating the future of how we're going to get from point A to B.
Real quick, are you talking about the OEM design studios?
The automaker design studios.
We actually just did a podcast about that and put pins on a map up and down the coast like, hey, this is...
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I actually think I saw that the other day, but we have design studios not only here in Southern California, but also up north. And so our show is proximate not only to Silicon Beach and a lot of the startups that are coming into the fold from a mobility standpoint, but also Silicon Valley up north. So it's really easy for executives and R&D, directors and vice presidents to come down and intermingle with the automotive industry establishment, which is more so the automakers that are coming from Detroit, from Europe, and from Asia. The other really great thing about why LA is kind of rising in terms of significance is because we're at a crossroads. We're really Switzerland when it comes to it being territory that an automaker from the United States, again, Asia and Europe and beyond can actually come here, unveil new products, test them, give experiences for consumers, and for the media, obviously, to come and experience here. From a car culture standpoint, customization was born here in Southern California with lots of different tuners and customizers. I mean, it's part of and hot rods. I mean, Whittier Boulevard, became a lowrider sort of experience for several years. You had racing that was going on up in the hills and foothills of Pasadena. So there's a lot of legacy and history here in Southern California from that standpoint. Green, we're a leading state in setting, trends, legislation as it relates to green innovation and the environment. So again, that's becoming more of an important issue that consumers actually care about. So it really has propelled the show to become an epicenter for not just unveiling really wonderful sheet metal, but also unveiling technology and other solutions.
So the show is, if I'm remembering right, it's 2 weekends, starts one weekend, ends another weekend, but it's that whole week in between. Am I remembering right, or is it 2 weeks?
So you have Automobility LA, which is a 4-day event
Okay.
for the media and industry professionals, and then you have the Los Angeles Auto Show, which consumers can attend over the course of 10 days. And so it kicks off on a Friday. This year it's going to kick off on November 30th, and it's going to go on until December 9th.
And now, a few years back, it moved, right? By a handful of weeks.
About a dozen years ago.
Gosh, was that long ago?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
About a dozen years ago. That was one of the pivotal moments, actually, that helped put Los Angeles in the right trajectory to be able to position it from a regional sort of show into more so of an international gathering, because it used to be in January. When I was a kid, I would go in January. And the dates moved to around Thanksgiving, which ended up putting it in a really great position so that...
Because it kind of kicks off the
auto
the first
show season
of the auto show season.
Yes. And so it's just at the right time for the following year's models to start making their debut, and it doesn't interfere at all with Detroit or any other show. And it happens now right before CES, so automakers, technology companies, and others love to bring something here and then continue to tell that story over at CES and at Mobile World Congress and other technology and automotive gatherings over the course of the year. So that really helped shape things for us. And here we are where in the past 5 years, we introduced Connected Car Expo, and now it's merged into becoming Automobility LA. And if you look back from, I don't know, before 2006 to where we are now, you've gone literally up to 25,000 attendees over the course of those 4 days. Which
for Automobility.
For Automobility LA, where the vehicle debuts happen, where our conference happens, where several different competitions are happening to cater and really take advantage of the fact that we're in Los Angeles. So we have a design competition that's been going on for several years. We've been bringing technology companies into the fold to conceptualize what the heck will the future look like.
Yep.
And last year, Microsoft actually underwrote the competition, which was really great. Companies explored what will Los Angeles look like in the year 2060, and how will people get around, how will people experience hosting the world's largest sporting event at that time, assuming that vertical transportation is the norm and that we're beyond level 5 autonomy. And there's some
by
great...
2060.
By 2060.
60. Okay.
What will that look like? And how will humans and machines interact with one another? How will they interact with venues? This is the exciting stuff, because we all think it's super down in the future, maybe 2060. But stuff's happening a lot quicker than we ever imagined. And that's why we wanted to provide a stage for the new automotive industry, as well as the established automotive industry, to collaborate, share insights, and really present and unveil what the future of transportation is like, as well as here's what's available right now. So it's really changed a significant amount. This is why it's a year-round position. We're touring the world, we're meeting with stakeholders, we're talking about how do we increase engagement, how do we unveil this creatively, because you can't just pull sheets off of things anymore. That's not enough. And the cool thing for consumers is, and just fans of brands and technophiles and whatnot, you could still stay engaged with the power of social media. We have those platforms. We actually have a podcast of our own, Automobility LA podcast, where people can listen in and gain insights into this stuff, and obviously witness it all through the power of social media. So you can really take part in this and not just wait, to see it in your dealership.
Right.
And the great thing is, we're still the number one sort of consumer market here in the United States. So people want to touch, they want to feel, they want to get into cars, they want to see what they can do and what those cars can do for them,
So I want to take a step back just a little bit.
Absolutely.
We mentioned that LA is the first tentpole of auto show season.
Yeah.
And for iDriveSoCal listeners, obviously, we're always talking about various auto shows, be it anything as small as a startup cars and coffee kind of thing, or museums. Excuse me. museums or whatnot, but this is the new franchise original equipment manufacturer auto show season that we're talking about. And Lefty's job as a leader of the LA Auto Show takes him to the other tent poles. I want to talk just a little bit about those, the other shows that you go to, and what you get out of them and then what you bring back from them.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, we go for immediate feedback because literally the season kicks off right after our show. We're recapping our event and we're actually getting insights. What worked? What could we improve on? Following up on news that broke at our show and continues to make news at their shows.
Yep.
But more than anything, it's FaceTime because when our stakeholders are at our event, they're making their launches happen, they're networking, they're doing business. So it's a bit more relaxed and a better opportunity for us to engage with those stakeholders at the following events. And there's a different flavor of the type of attendee that might go to a CES, for example. CES has a flavor of automotive, but it's a technology show.
Yep.
And, you're competing with curved television screens. And so we're kind of an inverse of that. We're an automotive show that has a strong undertone of technology that's woven into our top 10 automotive startups competition. We have a hackathon. We have design developer program. So there's a lot of technology, the technology pavilion.
Right.
So, we're an automotive event with technology as opposed to a technology event with automotive. And so you just get to meet new partners at that point in time and have FaceTime with new types of journalists. And it's really fantastic to see how everyone has their own sort of core competencies and sort of focal points. For us, we've been dubbed as the green show because automakers and other technology companies like to bring, alt-fuel vehicles, hybrid vehicles. And so the complexion of the show is changing severely because, again, of us being in California, us being in Los Angeles, where the consumer market cares about that. Same thing with luxury, same thing with technology. So we have our mosts and everybody else has their mosts. And so it's just a really great way to continue the conversation.
So let's talk numbers. You mentioned 25,000 attendees for the media and industry portion of the LA Auto Show, which is LA Automobility.
Or Automobility LA, yeah.
Automobility LA.
It's okay.
I got your name right.
You did. So,
so how does that compare to? Does it compare? Is there anything similar in some of these other shows, and not just CES, but like Frankfurt or Tokyo or Detroit?
Yeah, so the way that we position ourselves is, what are our strengths? Again, we're that Switzerland where it's everyone's land here, and everyone has a fair share to engage with consumers and earn media and unveil products and so on and so forth. Again, we're the design and green capital in terms of shows. So we really tout and position ourselves on our own strengths.
Yep.
And if you look at our own trajectory, before 2006, you had, I believe the number was for those press and trade days, as we called them, before 2007, around 8,500 people that were coming to the event. So you're competing with yourself, especially when you're starting to make bold moves like, let's rebrand press days. Let's actually add a conference. Let's add a hackathon. Let's add a design competition and evolve it and a top 10 startups competition. We're really competing with ourselves and not looking at competing with anyone else, to be quite honest with you.
So as far as comparison numbers, don't know. Okay. Now let's talk about the show itself. The consumer side of the show, the LA Auto Show.
Yeah.
What are the numbers of attendees there? Because I'm pretty sure they're rather staggering.
Well, we continue to bring hundreds of thousands of brand enthusiasts and consumers to the show every year, and that's as far as we know. And so we
not going to get a specific number.
You're not getting a specific number. I mean, a lot of different media outlets have published numbers from several years ago, but we don't publish our numbers. At the end of the day, what we do tout is the level of engagement at these shows. So I believe last year we ended up bringing 32% increase in terms of what we call shouters and what the industry analysts call shouters.
Shouters.
Yeah, folks that make several recommendations over the course of the year on which car to buy or lease or which car to not buy or lease.
Is that a social media thing?
This is not a social media thing. This is, you have research companies that come into all the auto shows, and everyone, they're independent research firms, and they try to measure the quality of the attendee that comes to the show. So if they're going to make more than 5 to 10 recommendations a year to someone, and you trust, let's say, your Uncle Joe,
Sure.
right? And your Uncle Joe is just like plugged in, he gets it, blah, 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 blah. Uncle Joe's opinion matters more than no matter what the billboard's going to say, the advertisement's going to say.
Uncle Joe's a shouter.
He's a shouter.
Okay.
And so that's what they measure, and that's really the extra added value power of coming to an auto show and participating in an auto show if you're an automaker or any brand that wants to engage a consumer in a very discerning market like Los Angeles, where trends begin, where brands refashion themselves, where the Maria Cicciones become Madonnas. And so it's really, that's the power of the auto show. And then from a consideration standpoint, attendees at the show add to their consideration list by 38% after attending the show, and or remove from their consideration list. And I believe that number was 13% last year.
Okay.
So it's really influential to actually come to the event. And a lot of people don't come to shop. They just come to experience. Our time last year was an average of 5 hours spent per attendee, which is pretty astounding.
Yeah, I think I go through museums and auto shows at rather snail's pace because I need to check out everything. My wife actually just sends me on my own butt anymore.
She needs her alone time? Well, you could bring her with you next time, or at least you can part ways and meet for lunch at the show.
She doesn't have the patience to watch me go around and every nook and cranny.
Separate it and then meet up. You could do that. We have 1 million square feet for you to play in. Yeah.
But I think I've spent 5 hours and not gotten quite through everything. So with that in mind, what does this year's show have in store for us?
I mean, it's always a new show. Every year you have 1,000 new cars on the floor. So literally the content changes every single year, and everybody's one-upping themselves in terms of providing a more profound sort of activation, engagement point, because people understand authenticity is really important. Not people, but brands understand, because they're acting more like people, they got to be super authentic.
Right.
You're going to see a lot more sharing. You're going to see a lot more interactive, augmented reality, sort of virtual reality displays and showcases at the show. Gaming, you're starting to see a lot more of that. You're
Gaming at the booths where you can kind of...
Well, not only at the booths, but also in dedicated areas within the atriums of the show. You're going to be able to, of course, test drive more than 100 different vehicles around the entire convention center. We have tours and tracks and whatnot. There are experiences that are being brought by different brands in terms of things that you can win or shareable moments. People want to shop before the holidays. There may be an opportunity for some of the cash and carry sort of exhibitors that are going to be there for you to do some of that while you're also looking at all the new
holiday shopping while
you may be able to
touring the LA Auto Show.
It's been done in the past.
All
Yeah,
right.
a lot of people just don't know that there are a lot of vendors that do have really cool stuff, that accessories and things
Sure.
like that you might be able to bring. There's always an art element at the show that's woven into a lot of the exhibits this year. But stay tuned. Visit LAAutoShow.com for the latest updates on what's happening this year.
And real quick, let's drop again. The LA Auto Show is happening,
November 30th through December 9th.
and the
Automobility LA event is November 26th through the 29th.
okay. Now, I think we covered everything pretty well. But I want to give you the opportunity to touch on anything before we talk about what the future is going to look like.
I think we're good. I mean, just having been an Angelino my whole life, it's really exciting to see the complexion of the show changing from a content standpoint. A, B, being able to see so many hybrid, electric, alt-fuel vehicles really taking space in everybody's exhibits. A lot of automakers have been making testaments that by 2020, 2022, depending on which automaker it is, they're going to have, electric versions or, hybrid versions of their entire lineup.
Right.
And so, again, as being someone born and raised in Southern California, perhaps I'm stereotypical. I care about the environment and whatnot. And so MPG and all that is really important. And just seeing that being delivered is really exciting. And you can get a lot of posts on social media. You get a lot of emails that you don't have time to get to. But at the end of the day, you're completely focused when you come to an experience like the LA Auto Show to compare side by side what aesthetically pleases you, what actually gives you the freedom to do what you want in your life. There's subscription services that you can suddenly be a part of, to where you can have an entire lineup or entire fleet of the lineup of a specific automaker or a brand. And so just watching that sort of pivot is exciting from, an Angelino standpoint, I would say.
And, you mentioned the LA Auto Show within the industry has really taken on the green mantle. That this is so with that in mind, is there
green in tech? Yeah, I would say
any big kind of one and the same, the green in tech.
Yes almost, and no, right? Because when we talk about technology, we talk about autonomy and connectivity.
Right.
Electrification is part of it. We call it our ACEs, and the sharing economy.
ACEs?
ACEs, ACES. Yeah, autonomy, connectivity, electrification, and sharing.
Okay.
So it's really rad to see more than just, green innovation, electrification, and whatnot. Because, we've had a stage where you've had the CEOs of Intel, of Lyft, of Panasonic, of Waymo take the stage and actually talk about the future of mobility. That's pretty impressive. And, we really have set a new sort of precedent, and you've seen the Germans, you've seen Detroit, you've seen others try to follow suit with their own articulations to address this. And so, emulation is flattery, and it's also necessary because you're doing something right if other sort of leaders from around the world are doing something similar. The conversation has to keep going.
Sure.
You can't wait an entire year. And so that segues into our conversation about the future.
Yep.
I think, a big opportunity here is not only being, at least for us, there's so much news that it's coming through the platform of Automobility LA and the LA Auto Show that we really have an opportunity to partner with more of these technology companies and automakers in getting the word out and creating engaging experiences year round. So, that could mean digital delivery of it, or that could mean experiential delivery with, different pop-up events. Nothing's been set, but we have big dreams here because we have to continuously innovate and have conversations with various stakeholders on how do you continue to be part of the conversation in people's lives, real consumers' lives, over the course of the year.
A peek behind the curtain for this year's show. Can you let us know anything special that we might not have heard about that we can break right here on iDriveSoCal?
I would probably lose my job if I shared too much. All I can say is, it's always an exciting show because literally everything, every square foot of that show is different year after year. And so the best way to find out is to attend the show. And
the show, again, is, let's drop the dates one more time.
Again, Automobility LA will be November 26th through the 29th, and the Los Angeles Auto Show will be open to consumers and the general public November 30th through December 9th.
And ticket prices are?
You can see we have various tickets that are available. Visit online, laAutoShow.com. You can come by yourself. You come with a friend. We have guided tours with automotive experts that you can sign up for.
Period. Guided tours.
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely tours.
You got 1 million square feet to cover, right? You might as well have a guided tour.
You
Makes
might
sense.
as well have a guided tour and go from, Tesla over to the garage. Oh, by the way, we have the largest public aftermarket showcase down at the convention center during Los Angeles Auto Show, which is really great. You have all the usual suspects. You have Galpin, who has actually their own hall. Galpin
has their own hall this year?
They for the past few years.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really great. So you get to see some throwback vehicles. You get to see some of their latest sort of designs, Galpin Autosports.
Yeah.
And then down in the garage, you have Dub and several others that are making their mark. So you'll be able to see that at the show as well.
All right. Excellent. Anything you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
Just, we encourage you to check out the latest news in terms of Automobility LA on automobilityla.com. You can also check out our podcast as well after listening to yours, Tom. And from the LA Auto Show standpoint, we welcome everyone to come down, come surprise yourself. Even if you're not looking for a car and you're looking to have a good time, we're easily accessible.
All right. Awesome. Lefty Cirones.
You got it.
Of the LA Auto Show. Thank you so much
Thanks
for
so much.
joining me.
I really appreciate it, Tom. We
Yeah.
really do as well.
Yeah, we'll sync up again in the future. For iDriveSoCal, I'm Tom Smith. Thank you, as always, for listening. This episode was engineered and edited by Bobby Flores. Howdy. Still here, huh? That's cool, but this one's pretty much done. But we have tons of additional content at our website, iDriveSoCal.com. If you're not listening from there already, you should definitely check it out. From there, you can subscribe to our newsletter, the podcast, or leave a note. And I'd love to hear from you too. Here's my email, tom@iDriveSoCal.com. That's Tom, T-O-M, at iDrive, the letter I, drive like drive a car, SoCal like Southern California.com. Tom at iDriveSoCal.com. Thanks again for listening, and please reach out with whatever's on your mind.